Good afternoon, everyone. Today's topic is embedding Agile into your DNA. In this discussion, the points we are discussing are linked with the experience of working in an Agile environment. So those who are coming from the industry might be able to resonate with it, but those who do not have the industry experience can understand how actually the industry works and adjust your mindset to be comply with it. Um, Okay, so these are the discussion points that I have for today's discussion. First, we'll go through like bit of doing versus being agile, and then characteristics of having an agile mindset, and the impact of the mindset has on the product and the teams. How important it is to have this mindset. Right. So in the industry right now, the most common approach for development is agile rather than the waterfall. Sometimes a few years ago, actually, we were using the waterfall method, but we are like more practicing these incremental development cycles right now. So we have been following this for a while now, and we know a lot of techniques and principles about agile. But do you still face any challenges in your day-to-day work? Do you still face any challenges with your releases and teamwork? Um, does this situation sounds familiar to you? Hypothetically, so you are working in a agile team, and your team is always stressed, working overtime. If you do not work overtime, it's hard to meet the deadlines. But you are trying to meet the deadlines by working overtime. So we have sprints, but those sprints are agile in name only. What happens is you have like promised or discussed set of items. Those keep on dragging to the next sprint because you are unable to complete it, or uh, you're extending the sprint by 1 more day, 2 more days, 3 more days, like that. Is this happening habitually? Um, and you have a growing backlog of user stories and bugs. Um, there are like, no matter how much you resolve, it's really hard to get it down to a certain number. So there are production bugs, UAT bugs, a lot of bugs, and continuously adding new requirements also. Everything is high priority. You cannot actually prioritize it at the moment. So backlog is at kind of a mess. And in agile environments, we have retrospectives. So when we face these problems, we have the retrospective when we identify the problems that we need to work on, and we have set of suggestions. So maybe by automating, you want to reduce the time that you need to spend on the tedious QA work, or some process changes to improve the process work that you are doing. But are you struggling with finding the time to do these things? You want to implement new changes, but you have good suggestions, but you don't have time to do it. Also, you are getting a lot of requests from stakeholders, and the team is struggling to say no, and you actually can't say no. Um, so you are continuously trying to make them happy by like accommodating those changes. Is this situation familiar to you? I think probably like we must have faced either most or some of these challenges. So according to your understanding, what do you think the reason behind this? I think, is it because we follow agile, but we actually uh, change it to our benefit? We like famously say agile, but or is it because of the bad agile practices that we follow? I think actually it is more than that. The missing piece in this is the mindset adjustment and improvements that needs to have the proper agile background, culture rather. So learn agile principles and practices and terms is like easy. You can find the resources in the internet, and there are a lot of books that are written around it. So you can gather that knowledge. But what is a mindset? Why is this more important on the habitual and personal level? Agile mindset focus more on core values. So let's see what are the characteristics of agile mindset. And before going to that, we'll see what is the difference between doing versus being agile. So agile mindset is a thought process that involves understanding, collaborating, learning, and staying flexible. This way of thinking helps the team to adapt to changes rather than struggling around it. So as an example, think of an outdoor concert that you are going to attend that you are very excited about. So there is a very good vocalist, an extraordinary keyboard player, a guitarist, and maybe a drummer. So everybody is skillful in their own way, and they are like talented. They have trained well, so they are like one of the best people in the industry. And when you go to the concert, what happens actually is they start playing well in the beginning, but like in the middle they start to like different artists try to start to play in different keys, and they are not in sync, not harmonizing together. So what do you think of the output? Will it be happy? No, right? The performance itself will be a failure, and it will make a frustrating situation. So the agile teams are also like this. Um, Teams are individuals are similarly talented, well talented, skillful, but when you put the team together with different skilled different people, you need to align and like harmonize with each other. Teams cannot function and deliver properly without some form of guidelines and structure. Actually, agile principles help us to lay out the structure, but agile mindset is the one that is helping us to lay out the culture and to properly execute it. Okay, so we'll look at the characteristics of having an agile mindset. Right. The first point I have is you have to be customer centric. Agile itself is customer centric. Think of an application like Job Seeker, or in Sri Lankan context, Top Jobs. So when you're writing the requirements, we write the requirements from the customer perspective in a way like as an advertiser, I will post the job and the seeker will apply. So to implement and deliver this requirement right, you need to have a you need to think about from the customer perspective and understand the customer needs and their experience. Then only you can actually properly accommodate what they want and understand what they want. With agile, we encourage teams to be close to the customer and we don't have the barrier of having a third party or middleman between the customer and the team. So we had that in the traditional waterfall method, but now what we are doing is we are encouraging the team to be more closer to the customer and have an open discussion with them. So in the waterfall method, what we did was when we get a requirement, you just get it and you just try to develop it. But in the waterfall, what we mostly do, we encourage to do is you can ask questions. Why do you need it? And how are you going to do it? And then you can suggest the best approach. So it is more of a relationship between the customer and the team. So it's not only maybe product owner, BA's responsibility to get the requirements right. It is the entire team's responsibility to understand the customer. So I'll take an example of e-commerce application. So the customer wants to develop a search engine, a facility to suggest give suggestions based on their search history. So they have unique mechanisms to do it, but this is not something new. This is existing in the applications like Amazon. So this is already there. So when you get a requirement like this, this is this is not something new. So you need to find ways to bring value by asking why and how. You just don't have to follow them around. So you can ask why they need it, and then you can think how to do it. Prioritize your work around what they want, and try to give the priority to them based on the requirement. So when you ask these questions right, you can understand what is the thinking pattern behind this requirement, or how are other similar products working. How are we going to implement this? We have like multiple uh, ways to implement. So how are we going to implement this? Is this actually technically feasible under our current architecture? How can we make it more like desirable to the customer, and what would make it more different from other existing applications? So you have that ability to talk and convince the customer based on like finding the best approach possible. So try to get an understanding about the people you serve. How can we give our services better than just like offering the skills? So if you are a developer, you are not only developing what the customer is asking. You're trying to find the best approach to this problem that customer having. So you can be the trusted advisor that they can always depend on. You can advise if they are like doing anything wrong, or you can for example, in the middle of the sprint they are trying to put one more requirement in, and if you see that this is affecting a production release, at that point you are having the uh, uh, right to say and show the customer when this is affecting the process, and look, if you do this, this will mess up the timeline of the production release. It's always about why and how. uh, but we need to keep in mind, be customer centric doesn't mean that customer is always right. Customer can be right or wrong. It's your responsibility to understand the customer and build the right relationship with them. Yeah, to talk about evolving, I'll take an example about production releases. I think we all have faced this. You have a production release, and you know now these items are going to be delivered for this, like included to this, and you know you have set up a code freeze, and you have set up a release date, and you have set up a soft code freeze for this, and you know what are the expected features for this, and like you have a plan in place with the details that you have, and like which environment you are going to test, who would set up the environment with details. You have a proper plan, right? And then you're gonna execute it. You engage with the team, and you're executing the plan that you created earlier. So you get the daily scrum meetings and demonstrations, feedback cycles. So it is also included in this execution of the plan. Then comes the confirmation or checking. You like continuously you keep on having sync meetings and check whether the items are in the right order, and whether we can meet the deadlines, whether we can meet the soft code freeze and the hard code freeze, etc. At this point, you see one item is having the risk of not delivering by the soft code freeze. So you see a problem. what you have to do here is you are applying a first aid. So the immediate reaction will be applying a first aid. The first aid would be escalating it and talking with the team, or trying to maybe scale it down, or taking more resources to address this problem. So um, the first aid is, or the simple patch that we are going to apply is this. But you need to actually understand the root cause for this problem. The symptom is the inability to deliver this item, but the root cause would be bad estimations, or adding new requirements to it, or incorrect capacity planning. So you need to address the root cause if this is continuously happening, to get a long-term solution. So in this situation, now you see the problem of not being able to deliver, but you do not have all the required information to come into a conclusion of saying, no, we can't deliver this, right? So there is always the risk of taking decisions, or acting without all the information. But what is important at this stage is encouraging to act fast. You may not have all the complete information, but you can act fast to work towards it. Team actually needs to understand the risk of acting fast, and the risk of like taking these kind of quick actions, because at the end of the release you might be able to deliver it as well, right? But the the risk of or the impact of being unable to deliver it versus raising the flag early uh, is high. So team needs to understand this and act accordingly. Now you did the plan, you did the do step, and you do the check. And act means you need to take the corrective actions for the problems that you identified from the root cause analysis in the previous stage. So if it is happening continuously, if we are continuously failing to meet the deadlines, continuously failing to deliver to the soft code release, then there is a practice, or like the a problem that we need to address. So you need to address this root cause and incorporate it to the daily practices, like incorporate it to the standards of your project. So team should not settle with current standards and continuously find ways to improve. Standards in initial stages will not apply in the middle stages. So, for example, if we take a healthcare application, customer has a really good idea. So, what they want initially is to implement this, and then they don't even care about the performance aspect, or they don't even want to do extensive testing. They'll do the testing by themselves. They don't actually want to spend too much time on the regulations. So they'll just go ahead and develop. But at the time that they are going to go to the market, they will think about, they will have to comply with certain regulations, and they will have to provide certain security measurements, provide certain information about the quality. So the standards keep on evolving with the maturity of the process and the product. So team needs to adjust to it, and we need to have a learning mindset to adjust to it as well. So we need to choose what to do the right thing in the most efficient way, not shortcuts. So even in the previous example of the release, we cannot always apply the shortcuts continuously. Yeah, so actually working in plan, do, check, and act means we are setting goals and working towards it. You need to set smart goals to the team and to the individuals, uh, clearly, and like specify it clearly, and specific goals which are easy to achieve, and those should be measurable. The measurements and matrices should give you the input to make necessary conclusions, whether it's going good or bad. Um, the matrices, you can use those matrices and standards also to measure goals. So your entire process and everything should keep on evolving along with the project. Yeah. So in Agile, team consists of different talents and different skills. Different team members bring different values to the team, and each member is well respected and should be respected as well. Collaboration isn't always easy, but each part of the team is essential to the functioning. Um, there are certain things that are like very important for the collaboration. Those are communication. It's not only providing clear instructions, you need to ask for clarifications and when necessary, and listen to all members of the team and get their ideas of it. Communication is not one way, it is two ways always. And keep the transparency of the work you do, then only team can build that trust. And you need to the leadership needs to identify and maximize each member's strengths. Uh, they need to, when there are conflicts, they can disagrees and conflicts, they can get together and solve it within the teams. Um, Once the goals and duties are identified for each team member, it is the job of the entire team to hold accountability. So if one person is failing short, it is affecting the entire team. So this is really important for collaboration and building the trust among the team members. Also, agile teams are self-organized. Say that, as an example, let's take emergency production bug. So we are working in a release, and you're doing your normal day-to-day work, and you're getting an emergency production bug. So there can be key people or management people who are driving and guiding the team, but the entire team is responsible for the output of the team and the work that we are doing. So team get together and organize themselves to like solve this production bug or address this production bug while we are going through the rest of the work as well. So you don't have to wait till others point out to act to certain things. You can, as a team, get together and self-organize to solve the problem within yourself. So team is being empowered to come together and solve problems. Um, they actually feel empowered to solve it within themselves. Best example is actually something that we can relate to, the pandemic and how it affected the IT industry. So most of the companies in the IT industry in general had problems with adjusting to work from home situation with collaboration. But Ascentic was equipped well for this from the beginning. But in general, industry faced this problem. Finding ways to deliver without an impact under many challenges was challenging. Uh, we had to maintain transparency and find ways to um, uh, like reduce each other's stress. People were stressed because they were at home and like no, you can't meet your team members, and it adds additional pressure when you are working in a project which needs maybe multiple devices and you do not have device to for each person. You have to share those between them, between the team. So teams try different ways to stay in touch and collaborate with each other as well. So this is the best example of self-organized in the team to deliver well by identifying underlying problems. Yeah. So as we discussed earlier, agile mindset does not assume that the customer is always right. So in fact, its basic belief is that customer can't pinpoint their future needs and wants. They have a proper mind roadmap, but they don't have a clear idea on solid plans. Uh, what the customer needs now, and you can't commit. You should not commit too far to the future. For example, think they have a requirement to make the software to comply with accessibility standards. So they know that this requirement is there. You do not have to wait till you get all the requirements cleared or all the details, but you can plan and be ready with what you have, understand the future training requirements, tool requirements, and investigate and learn about possible changes that we should do in the software and the process as well. And we need to make a plan. Maybe the process changes, but we can't keep it solid. The plan itself should be agile. Um, so agile teams always think of multiple solutions and finding the best way to do it based on the easier and smarter to implement ways. So they put in front of, so the multiple solutions they have, they put in front of the customer. For the accessibility, for example, there are multiple ways to do it. So they put in front of the customer and get their feedback, and then adjust priorities and requirements based on that. They, by doing this, you find the smartest solution to the problem that customer has. You can avoid unnecessary complexities and dependencies and keep it simple. What we need to focus on is about the present, and how are you going to do it now? Be able to change, accommodate the changes. This doesn't ask for unrealistic flexibility, but it is actually more towards the realistic flexibility and expectations. Right. Achieving agile mindset is a process. It takes a lot of individual effort, and it takes time to do it. Agile mindset needs a lot of participation and presence, not theory knowledge and sessions. It helps teams to be more efficient. If you do it right, each member will be valuably contributed and work together. Uh, it encourages quick thinking, also like organization and a structural way of working as well. um, like when you have a proper agile mindset in your teams, it supports each member's professional development, because you are empowered to suggest good approaches and improve. So the impact of having the agile mindset, as per our understanding, is mostly towards the product and the team. So let's have a look at the impact from these. So for the product, um, but through by adapting to all these characteristics, what we do is we give early feedback to the stakeholders. We incorporate faster feedback loops. Think how that we can get the feedback from the UI UX perspective. UI UX team members actually create wireframes and get the approval from the customer. They know what to expect in the UI. Developers, when they are developing, they have frequent demonstrations and discussions with the customer, so they know what is being developed. If you think of a really of the quality aspect, so you can incorporate automated scripts. You can run it either in the regression towards the end, or maybe you can incorporate it with the build pipelines and run it each time when a developer pushes the code. So that actually brings the feedback loop more closer to the development. And some use shift left approach of testing as well. And even in the grooming, you're asking questions to clarify the requirements that actually give the feedback early about the requirements and give the frequent validation of what we do. Um, yeah, so team is keep on looking to find the simplest and fastest way to get the feedback, because the feedback keeps on validating what we are doing. It improves the trust. Improve level of trust by maintaining the transparency. So progress is transparent since we are continuously validating the progress and work. Chances of going something wrong is very less. Team is more predictable and less surprising. When you think about a customer and the product perspective, isn't this what actually they want from every team? Yeah, so let's see what are the impacts that we have on the team. So the team is owning it, doing what is right and feeling safe to have a go and experiment. So they are not judged by doing it, and the organization itself or the team itself support this way of working. Their voice is valued, actively seeking different perspectives and like find the best approach to do it, taking responsibility to speak up. You're not scared, you're comfortable with it, and you're trusting others to get things done. You don't need the micromanagement. Once you have the plan laid out, you're trusting the team members to execute it. The guidelines and questions help to like understand where we are and how to be in line with it. But it is actually empowering and coaching. And lastly, team is actually success because they are looking to make each other shine. Not you don't have to um, be scared of it, because everybody is showing their value to the team and being open and transparent. And the team is being generous with each other. So at the end of the day, it is a successful team. Right. With that, I think we have come towards the end of the presentation, and let's look back about the things that we discussed. So we initially got a scenario and discussed how chaotic certain situations would be, and we identified the main concern behind it is a agile mindset, and these are the characteristics of the agile mindsets: be customer centric, continuously evolve, be cross-functional, and keep it simple and smart. And then at the end, we discuss about the impact that it has towards the team and the product. Yeah, so with that, I'll open the platform for the questions. If you have any questions, please put in the chat or you can speak up. We have one question. What is the best approach to take if there are members, teams who are showing a resistance to understand the importance of an agile mindset? Yeah. So when you have a resistance, first what you need to think is whether as the leadership, you are cultivating the agile mindset. So if you are cultivating it, if you are facilitating it, then you can think, okay, is this person actually, is it the, if it is yes, then the the problem is needs to be addressed from that person. So the reason can be maybe lack of knowledge. That person is not aware of it the problems that it create by not having the agile mindset, or it could be that you in the industry you have brought up in a way that you're not empowered to work alone, or empowered to cultivate this growth mindset or agile mindset. So hence you're not aware of this or comfortable with it. Or you can resolve this by keep on giving the opportunities and keep on collaborating, getting them collaborated with the correct setup. So that way we can actually overcome the problem. And there's another question. In your experience, what has been the biggest challenge getting people into the agile mindset, and how did you overcome it? Um, yeah, so actually, uh, we have not overcome it because it is, I think, a learning process. You have to keep on doing it. For example, if you take a team, you get a new team member. So you have a balance before joining this team member. So like this, then when you get a new team member, you need to start and try to find the right balance with that new member. So it is a learning curve actually, and you need to keep on learning. So it is not something that you can be done with. So it is something that you have to keep on doing. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. Are there any more questions? Okay. Right. So with that, I'll hand over to, yeah, one more question. How do you get a team to evolve beyond just doing Scrum to adopting an agile mindset? Good question. Um, Yes. I think what you have to do is keep on like the cycle that we discussed. Do act, do check, um, do check and no, plan, do, check, and act. Sorry, I forgot to note it. Yeah, so that is, this is not only when it comes to releases, you can apply this to your day-to-day work as well. So this itself helps you to evolve with your mindset. And we have another question. Does the agile mindset only apply to the IT industry, or can it be applied for other industries as well? No, actually, it is not only applied to the agile mindset, IT industry. This is something that you can apply in anywhere. Agile methodology is not something that we only follow in IT. So this is, I took the examples because we are in the IT industry and the audience is more uh, into the IT. So it is something that we can follow in anywhere, but like having an agile mindset supports agile. But if your organization or if your project is having a waterfall method, uh, the having an agile mindset might not fit always. So you need to think where to apply. But it of course can apply to everywhere. And there is another question. What is your idea about the Kanban? Yeah, so actually, uh, so here in this today's discussion, I thought of like mainly focusing on the mindset part, not like uh, the theories and like everything we can like find in the internet. So Kanban as a method, I think very useful, and we can like effectively use in the teams. But I'm not sure when we are doing it practically, we can use it 100% because I have seen in practical situations, like doing a lot of adjustments or like tweaks to the Kanban. So practical wise, maybe you cannot, maybe you have challenges when you're using Kanban. Okay, I think with that, we can hand over the presentation to Lulu. So over to you, Lulu.
Beautiful. Thank you, Oshadhi, and thank you everyone for attending today's session. If you'd like to reach out to Oshadhi with any more questions, you can find her on LinkedIn. Her details are in your slide. And if you think that Acentic might be the place for you, please jump on our website and check out what we have to offer. Thank you, everybody. We will keep you notified about our next speaker. So follow us on social media and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.